Good evening. Hello. Happy Thursday. And welcome back to my man cave. Brother Jeff, how's Orlando?
Hot.
And Tanya upstairs. I'm ready. I'm ready for bourbon.
Can't you
Uh,
see the sunburn, John?
you've been out in the sun. It does look a little toasty up there. I'm gonna have another empty bottle tonight. I think I'm gonna hopefully get rid of this last bit of Knob Creek single barrel in that bottle.
And I'm going to crank open this bottle.
Heck yeah. Jeff scored some Eagle Rare this week.
Jeff made a big score this week.
Jeff scored a lot of Eagle Rare this week. So, hats off, dead soldier.
Dead soldier. May you rest in
Good news.
peace.
The good news is I have a backup. I've got a new bottle of that. This is one of the ones I keep on hand all the time. Uh, Tanya, what are you drinking tonight?
Um, I am drinking the finest Valtesian water out of my Bucky's cup.
Jeff, I bought a. Jeff took me to that Bucky's down in what was it, Warner Robins?
Yep.
Yeah, that's where I got that cup. I got myself one of those too.
Well,
So,
John, when this
here.
one's empty, I have 5 backups to go.
Mm. Jeff bought a case. Good deal. All right, let me get back over to the chat window. Yeah, boy, I'm running behind over here. I got our regulars in here. Ryan, Hank, Anthony, Andy, Andrew, Mike, Russ.
Looky here,
Hanging
John.
out in there. I see that.
It's
Margaret's
my
here.
favorite sister-in-law.
Ed, Andrew, Peter, Barbecue Bandit, Carl, Anurag, Brian, Fran. Yep, got a good crowd hanging out here. If you're having a drink with us, leave us a comment. Let us know what you're having. And even if you're not drinking with us, let us know where you're from. It's always good to see who's from where and how far we're reaching out. Bandit there's got some Eagle Rare, Jeff. I got some. You can't see
Yep.
it behind me with the way the camera's positioned. I've I've got about I've have approximately the equivalent of 3 bottles. I've got that 1,750, and I've got that's only had a couple glasses out of it, and I've got that 1.75 that hasn't been opened yet. So I'm good. Honorog's drinking with the high rollers tonight with the Budweiser. Fran, Zinfandel. Okay, excellent.
We do have a question here, John, already.
What's that,
Let me see if I can get to it. There we
Brian?
go. What does he need to get at Bucky's?
Take some
Well,
money
let me
with
tell
you.
you. Get the Bucky's cup. So like I
What?
have this one,
Yeah.
and one of my buddies at work, Vanessa, has one just like it, and we both enjoyed the Bucky's cup pretty
Hey,
good.
Tanya, sometime this summer, I can't remember exactly when, there's a Bucky's opening in Sevierville, so we'll have to run up there.
Right.
That's not too far from here, and we like to go up there anyway. So uh,
Yeah.
when that Bucky's, and it's going to be one of the largest Bucky's ever. Yeah,
See, Jeff
Jeff's
has
got
the
a Bucky's wine
Bucky's.
glass. Yeah,
That's
the
actually
Bucky's
Grace's.
is it?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we don't have the Bucky's close by, but Sevierville's what, 2 hours from here, Tanya?
Oh Lord, I
Maybe
guess I don't
roughly.
know.
It's roughly 2 hours west of here, up on Interstate 40. It's over in Tennessee, on this side of Knoxville. So,
So
Janice is
Janice,
having
today
water.
I had a really unusual experience. We were at Sur La Table, and the lady was like, "Do y'all want some coffee or some water?" And I was like, "Some water would be good." So she brings me this little tiny cup of water, and I'm tasting the water, and I'm like, "This tastes different." So I went and found the big old water jug that they have, the water dispenser, and they had it stuffed full of mint leaves and lemon and orange, and I drank a lot of water. I was the only person there. I think I drank half the thing of water while John was shopping.
Yeah, I like Sur La Table. Jeff, I about had my hands on a Kramer today. They had a Kramer. They had that Zwilling Kramer that I want
Hmm.
in the case over there, and I looked at it, I
How
came.
much?
It's $350. It's the same as it is everywhere, and but there's one thing that kept me from buying it. And I was itching. I was gonna buy it, and
All right. What's your excuse this time?
my excuse this time is I need to measure this Tormek knife sharpener that I use, that high end one.
Mhm.
There's a guide. There's a guide that the blade has to slide through to keep it at the proper angle against that wheel, and I need to measure the heel of that knife. I looked it up online and it said it's like 2.52 inches at its maximum width in that direction. I need to measure that and see if it'll fit in my sharpener, because if I can't sharpen that blade the way I want to sharpen it, I definitely won't buy it. I would want to be able to sharpen that blade on my Tormek, and they didn't have the Damascus one. All they had the plain carbon steel one, which is the one I would want anyway. I'm not willing to spend
Put out another $100.
another $100 for a pretty blade. Yeah,
Yeah, but that is a pretty blade.
yeah. But I looked at it and I don't know. It's I was thinking about it. I thought about it, and I said, well, at least I know where I can buy one locally now, or semi-locally. It's an hour from
And
here.
Brian, just FYI, the other thing you need to do is you need to take a picture with Bucky. That's like mandatory. And then you have to post it so we can see that you've successfully been to Bucky's.
Which Bucky does he have to take a picture with? The bronze statue out front or the real one?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
the one with the picture out front. Like John made a picture of it. And it was really cute.
Hey, Brian, Bucky's is famous for some of their snacks that they sell in there. It's the place on the inside is kind of like a Bass Pro Shop with a huge convenience store built in. It's got the same sort of, I don't know, they sell brisket. They got all kinds of barbecue in there. I didn't buy any of the food when we were there that day. We were just stopping for gas, and I didn't want to stay long because, man, that day, by the time we got back up to Atlanta, we had Jeff and I both had put a ton of miles in, especially Jeff. So we were worn out. So, okay. Bucky's. Margaret says, is Bucky's the new Stuckies? I would say yes.
On steroids.
My sister and I, when we were young, my mother's father, my grandfather on my mom's side, lived in a little town called Westminster, South Carolina, which is out near Clemson, near Anderson. And we would trek down 85 every time we would go there. And there was a Stuckies somewhere in the Greenville area that we used to love to stop at because they had cool stuff. But yeah, Anthony, I will not be there. I think Jeff's probably going.
I will be there.
And I'm not going either, just, FYI.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to meet me there, Tanya. Isn't that what we discussed?
No, I'm sorry. I just don't want to go down there and have to spend all day barbecuing and hanging out with all those people.
I thought you were my plus one.
Yeah.
No. So you just have fun. See, Janice isn't going either, so.
Yeah.
That's a long trip for Janice.
Yeah.
Janice, it was over 1,000 miles for her, if I remember correctly. She and her husband came in from Texas. I don't know, man. I wouldn't complain if I was Janice. I'm riding big, rolling deep in that Challenger, man. You'd have to pry me out of that car if I was. Tanya, you should have seen Janice's car. Did I tell you
what
about
kind
that?
was it?
It's a
You
Challenger.
probably did, but I probably forgot.
Mopar.
Oh, Brian, where are you going in Hawaii? Which island? John and I went to Oahu.
Yeah, we spent 8 days out there. It was fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Dole Plantation, number 3. Get yourself some of that.
We'll bring you back here in a bit, Tanya. We're going to kick things off here. All right. So I didn't do a whole lot this week. That's why I don't have a whole lot planned. I got a couple things I want to show you, but let's look at
I didn't do anything this
Jeff.
week.
Jeff has broke bad once again on a couple of racks of lamb.
Yep. Those are nicely seasoned with a little bit of EVO and that McCormick's bruschetta. I mean, that's my go-to on lamb.
Give us some perspective on that, Jeff. Do those guys weigh about 2 pounds, 2.5 pounds each?
Yep. Right around that.
Where are you getting yours?
I get mine at Costco. I tried the ones at Sam's, and I must have got a bad batch because they were tougher than tough.
Well, Sam's is Sam's is one of the places I can buy these. I haven't looked really anywhere else. Publix might have them, but I've been keeping my eye open because I'd like to do some more. I'd like to use the Camp Chef to do a couple more, but the last 2 times I was in Sam's Clubs, the one they had were really small. They were under 2 pounds. And I think I'd like to wait till I find something with a little more meat on it.
Yeah, I usually dig through them and find the 2 biggest ones.
Tell me again what you season these with.
With McCormick's bruschetta seasoning.
Mm-hmm.
It's like an Italian seasoning with a few other goodies in it.
Right.
And they just come out really flipping fantastic. I mean, I say when the 7-year-old granddaughter, every time she comes over, Pop, you gonna make me lamb chops?
I think one of the favorite seasoning blends I've ever put on lamb is that Za'atar, that African blend, and
that would be good too.
I think there's a couple places that sell that blend, but when I discovered Za'atar, I didn't have. It's not something obviously I can buy where I live, so I made some. I looked up some recipes to find out what ingredients were going in it, and that's the one that I had to order the sumac.
Yep.
For that because I couldn't find sumac around here anywhere. But I think all the other spices, actually, I think the one I had Aleppo pepper in it also, and I just happened to have Aleppo pepper here because I ordered it for something else I was gonna do, and then never did. I was gonna do some kebabs, and I never got around to doing it. But I bought the Aleppo pepper for that, and Aleppo pepper is a Middle Eastern pepper it's got a strangely unique flavor. I don't really know how to describe it. It's not scorching hot, but it's earthy. It's got a really earthy flavor to it that's kind of like, it's got some sort of earthiness that reminds me a little of chipotle, but it's not chipotle at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. If any of you guys have had Aleppo pepper before and know a better way to describe that, jump in here and tell me about it.
And Brian, I get it on Amazon. Looks just like that. It's was it a 19-ounce bottle or can, whatever you want to call it?
Show that again, Jeff. Okay, so it can be bought in bulk.
Yep.
McCormick.
And as you can see, I go through it quite a bit.
Right.
And that's the only thing I use it on is lamb.
So that would be pretty good, though. So you got these guys rolling on the pellet, Joe?
Yep, that's my go-to.
We're just searing it real hot.
Yep.
And you go rare? Do you go rare on these?
Absolutely.
What do you pull them at, about 120, 125?
About 125, I'll pull them.
Yeah. How much carryover do you get out of those? Just
how much
about
what?
The perfect amount. I guess you'd get about a perfect amount of carryover on those going.
Yeah, they carry over really nicely, and you get a beautiful rare out of them.
Right. Yeah, that looks crazy. That's got just the perfect amount.
Crazy good.
I like it. I like going over direct high heat for those because, like Jeff's done here, I like to get some kind of semblance of char on those things without overcooking them. So you got to go hot. And
I try to go usually 475, 500 on the pellet.
The last time I cooked a rack of these, I think I did it on the PK Go on the little portable charcoal grill. And with that thing, it's really easy to be screaming hot right underneath the grate. And
Janus, the pellet doesn't have any deflectors.
it does, though. There's a heat shield underneath.
Well,
there.
the heat shield, but that's not.
Yeah.
The heat shield is more of a grease shield than really a
Yeah.
heat shield per
It
se.
becomes a heating element because
Yeah,
it's so close to the grill grate and it's so close to the fire pot. That thing, when you're cranking the pellet, Joe, really hard, if you go out and look at it in the dark, that grease tray, that heat deflector is glowing red.
Red.
Yeah. Baharat. I'm not familiar with the Baharat. I haven't tried that. Maybe I'll have a look at it on a log and see what the differences are. But the African, this book that I have, the Flavor Bible is what it's called. I looked in there also to find out, what are the commonly used spices across North Africa. And North Africa and the Middle East are kind of similar. The flavor changes a little bit as you move. Like on the eastern part of that line, you've got Morocco, and when you move around the western part, you have Morocco. And as you move across North Africa toward the Middle East, some of the things change up a bit, but not a whole lot. There's a lot of the same flavors going on all across there, and it's a really cool flavor. If I think about it, I'll put the recipe I use for the za'atar back up, because it's kind of a mishmash of things. There's nothing I would ever call typical of that za'atar that I put together. It's not authentic in any particular way. So pork belly,
brisket,
pork belly,
making bacon.
You making bacon?
Yeah.
Oh boy, I guess maybe
making maple bacon.
Maybe that's something else I need to get going, because I have some pork belly in the freezer.
Well, I got Kathy picked up some beautiful pork belly from this butcher shop up in Tennessee, little mom and pop place.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I think, $6 a pound, which isn't too awful bad.
That's about normal.
And it was nice. It had I'm going to say 60% meat to 40% fat.
That's pretty good. When my Food Lion up here last year during the summer and early fall, had pork belly and tri-tips, when that time came up, which was right around the 1st of November, that they were going to quit carrying that, they put the pork belly on sale, and I got some pork belly for $3.99 a pound.
Wow.
And it's Swift, so it's a reputable provider, and I've bought lots of pork from Swift, and never had any issues with any of it. So maybe I'll get some pork belly out. And it's skin off. They've taken the skin off of that stuff. So
that pork belly there will stay in the brine. It gets massaged every day. It will come out next. Let's see, today's Thursday. Next Tuesday, I'll probably wait till Wednesday to put it on. I'll take it out Tuesday, wash it off, and put it in the
equilibrium brine going there.
Yep. Even though Meathead's website is messed up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When it told me I only needed the brine for 2 days, I went.
Remind me, Jeff. I'll give you my spreadsheet. I made a calculator. I made a spreadsheet for figuring the brine, figuring the right amounts of pink salt and sugar for these brines. But the thing that I can't calculate on my own is the time. I don't understand that calculation. So that's why I still go back to, I think it's Professor Blonder's calculator, or somebody over there on the Meathead AmazingRibs.com website. There's a curing calculator that you give it the thicknesses of your meat and the shape, and it tells you how long you need to brine.
Yeah.
And
that's what Meatheads does. It's probably the same one, but the one day I read it, and and I put it all together, and then I went back, because in the back of my mind it was nagging. That thing's only got a brine for 2 days. That's not right. I go back in, and I read it, and now there's a notice up. Don't use the calculator right now; it's broke.
I'll tell you another trick. You can speed the process up on a wet brine on something like pork belly by like take your instant read thermometer and just poke through it every inch. Give it
Oh, yeah.
poke a hole in it, and that'll allow the brine to penetrate quicker and deeper. And you can probably cut your brine time by 25 or 30% by doing that. I've actually one of my early times of making pastrami, uh, I didn't leave it in the cure long enough, and you could see it when I sliced into the meat at the end. There was a little sliver in the middle of the meat that you could tell hadn't cured because it was a different color than everything else around it. My cure didn't fully penetrate. So
See, Mark just came on.
Mark Ashby's with us tonight. Good. I'm going to get Mark on here with us one night. Mark's doing a lot of cool video content on the Grill Mark Co channel there. So guys, if you haven't checked out Mark's stuff, do it. Mark's very good at making video. He
makes some funny reels, and then he makes some reels that you just kind of look at and go,
like, Mark, what are you thinking?
Yeah. What were you thinking?
Yeah. Yeah, Mark, we'll get him on here one night. Mark's a busy guy. He's got his hands full. So, all right. Let me pull up some stuff I've been working on this week. I haven't done a lot this week, guys. And the reason I haven't done a lot this week, I really don't have a great excuse for it, but Tanya's off work this week because it's spring break, and we've been doing stuff, and I haven't spent a whole lot of time cooking, but I've been playing with the Camp Chef, and once again, I hope you guys aren't getting tired of hearing about this Camp Chef, but I love it. One of the things I did since the last time we talked is I did some stir fry on the Camp Chef. This is in this picture. This is that sidekick accessory for the Camp Chef. It's that 28,000 BTU propane burner that replaces the right-hand side shelf. And in this picture, I've got my wok ring up there, and this is my carbon steel wok. This wok's relatively new. I haven't had it that long, and I haven't cooked in it but a handful of times, so it's still developing its patina. But when I got it, I did a good seasoning on it, so I decided to try to see how well it would work and see if that burner is going to get me hot enough. So I got the burner cranked up, and we put that wok on, and once the wok was hot, I drizzled in a little bit of avocado oil until it started to smoke. And I did chicken the first time. I did this on Friday last week. I was making some meals for me to take to work over the weekend, and I wanted some sort of simple chicken stir fry just to try this process out and have something decent to eat at work. So I cooked the chicken. I didn't cook the chicken all the way through right here. I just got it mostly there, and then I took it out, and I had some onion and green pepper, nothing fancy, but I had seasoned the chicken and the onion and green pepper with a little bit of my Man Cave Magic #1 salt, pepper, garlic. And I'm stir frying in avocado oil to start with. And when I put everything back together here, I added a little bit of sesame oil to it to get things going. Yeah, Damon, I'm going to show that video here in just a minute. I made a short video. I stir fried for dinner for Tanya and myself tonight because I wanted to try it again, and I bought myself a new rice cooker to replace the cheap one that I've got. So, but here, this is just simple, and I made a sauce. If you guys had seen Chef Eric's video on the Kamado Joe channel a while back of those hot yaki wings, I lifted Chef's recipe here. Chef had lifted it from somebody else, and he told in that video who he got the recipe from. But this sauce is crazy. It's I'm trying to remember the exact ingredients quantities he posted on that video. I think it was a half a cup of teriyaki, a half a cup of sweet Thai chili sauce, a quarter of a cup of hoisin, and a tablespoon or so of pickled ginger juice from the jar. You just dump it in there, and that's what this sauce is. And I love this sauce. It's the first I made it when I made some wings the other week. When I made wings on the Camp Chef, I wanted to try Eric's sauce recipe, so I made some of that, and it was really good. And the first thing that came to my mind when I tasted that was stir fry. I said, this needs to be a stir fry sauce rather than a wing sauce. It was great on those wings. Jeff, have you tried this yet?
No, I need to try that sauce. I've been reading a lot about it, and I just haven't gotten around to trying it.
And the teriyaki that I have has sesame seeds in it, which is not a problem. It worked out pretty well there too. Eric says he's tried it, so yeah, it's killer. It's a really good sauce. And one of the things I think, I'm not going to keep pickled ginger on hand just to do this, but I really feel confident that I can replace that pickled ginger with lemon juice, and it's going to be really good. It's going to bring the acidity and the brightness at the same time in just a little bit different fashion. I'll do lemon juice there instead of keeping that on hand. But anyway, I added, after everything's basically cooked, I added some of that sauce and tossed it in the sauce, and then I served it. I served this up in some of my little containers that I take to work for meals, and I had made some rice, put in there. It was delicious. It was really excellent, really good stuff. So I'm really super stoked with everything that's been going on with the Camp Chef. That sidekick, as I told you earlier, that accessory is one of the reasons I went ahead and spent the extra money to get the Camp Chef. Guys, I was looking for something to bring in here that was under $1,000, and I was looking at the other Camp Chef woodwind that did not, the previous model, not the Pro, and it was in a head-to-head battle with the Rectech 590. I really liked both of those grills at the $899 price point. I think Stephen Hickey brought it up. I don't know if Stephen's with us tonight, but Stephen said, "Hey, John, have you seen that Camp Chef Woodwind Pro?" And I said, "Yeah," but I said, "It's over $1,000. It's more than I wanted to do." And when he said it, I kept thinking to myself, I said, he's right. I said, I'm not going to be happy if I don't buy that. So the smoker box, you can put this sidekick on the old model, on the regular woodwind. So I could have gone $899 and got the sidekick still, but I wouldn't have had that smoker box. And I think that smoker box is a game changer. But anyway, let's I got a little video I shot today that I want to show you, because I made stir fry. I made stir fry tonight for Tanya and myself for dinner. So I'm gonna bring this video up. So
I'd eat that.
I don't get any prizes for plating on that, but man, that was fun. What I did was I set my camera up over to the side of the grill and just put it on and let it go, and then I edited out the stuff that didn't need to be there. I wanted to make a little short to show that process. I really wanted to post that video, and I did post it in the Camp Chef Grill Owners group, as Damon saw. But I wanted to post that over in the pellet Grill Addicts group, Jeff. They don't allow. I can't post my YouTube content in that group. They don't allow that. But I was able to upload a video directly to.
Yeah, I got kicked out once for that.
Yeah. Well, I made 2 versions of it. I made a second version of it that didn't even have my Man Cave Meals logo in it, where I could get away with posting it in that group. So I did. And I posted it in that group, and I'm waiting for the kickback on it of when was the last time you stir fried on your pellet grill. So we'll see what happens there. I haven't been back to look yet.
Let me go check the group and see.
George, I have not tried simmering on that. Here's one thing I do know about the Sidekick. Here, where I am in North Carolina, this time of year, it's a little bit breezy outside. And when I've got that burner turned down too low, the wind will snuff it out. I'm having some issues with that in the breezy times. But as the spring progresses, that'll get out down. And I think I probably would be able to simmer on that without a whole lot of trouble. And if you run into problems simmering on a propane burner, I've got another Camp Chef that you guys haven't seen much of. I've got one of their Expedition 3Xs that's a 3-burner stove, a 3-burner propane stove that's got the 30,000 BTU burners. I don't know how much difference there is there, because this is a 28. It's listed as a 28,000 BTU on the Camp Chef Sidekick, but when you want something low, sometimes it's a little challenging, but you can get they make these things that go over the burners on your indoor gas grills. I don't know what they're called. Jeff, do you know what those things are called that are like heat shields?
No, they're just wind deflectors.
Yeah, you can put it on, I don't know, you can set something there on the grill that helps tame that flame down a little bit if you need to. Fran, that was a sirloin. I bought an inexpensive sirloin steak at the grocery store, and that's the only thing that was wrong with our meal tonight, is that sirloin wasn't very good. It was a little tough. It was definitely not the best piece of sirloin I've ever had. And I also probably need to cut that into strips and cut it a lot smaller than I did to make a real good stir fry. I like it cubed, and Tanya likes it smaller. So I think the next time I do that, I'll cut it into strips and probably make strips about the same size as those bell peppers that you saw me put in there, which I think would be about perfect.
You have no comments on your video yet, snarky or otherwise.
Okay. Yeah.
You know you're going to have snarky.
Yeah, probably. But that's okay. So, yeah, it was Fran. It was sirloin. I just wanted to try it. I would like that with shrimp. I'm going to work on stir fry. I'm going to work on upping my stir fry game, because I like it. Tanya likes it, and I'm just not that great at it. I haven't spent enough time doing it, but I did buy Kenji's book, Kenji's Wok book. So I've got that on hand here. So I was telling Tanya, we're going to get the stir fry game going this summer and get a little bit better at it. But I'm playing hard with the Camp Chef. I haven't put the griddle on it yet. I've got the griddle accessory for that Sidekick. I've used the sear box a couple times, and I've done what you saw there a couple of times, but it's time to get the griddle going. So maybe, I don't know, there's tons of things I can do on the griddle. You know, I might do smash burgers on it or something sometimes.
You also need to get that pizza accessory for it. I think that burner would do a good job.
Yeah, that pizza accessory, I'd like to have that, and you know I love making pizza. I've kind of stepped out of the pizza world. I got rid of the wood-fired oven. I got rid of all the pizza bakers I have, and I committed myself to just use the Kamado Joe when I want to cook pizza. But that accessory, I might get it because it'll give me. I have every bit of confidence that I can do Neapolitan pizza in that thing. I don't
I
have
think so.
any doubt that I can bring that thing. I can get a stone temperature north of 750 or 850 with that. I'll try it. I'll talk with Damon. I don't know if Damon. I'm sure Damon. Damon, if you're still with us, do you have the pizza accessory? I'm sure he probably does. And I'd like to find out maybe if he's tried Neapolitan style pizza in there, you know, north of 800 degrees. And I'm pretty confident that burner is not going to have any trouble producing that level of heat in that accessory. So, but I don't have it, and I'm also wanting to drill Damon on something else. There's a new Camp Chef smoker coming out that he posted about in the Camp Chef Grill Owners group that I'm interested in. It's a vertical cabinet pellet smoker, but they've updated one of their existing designs to put this smoker box in it. So I'm quite interested in the potential there, and we'll have a look at it because it's just a smoker though. It's I think if I remember correctly, it maxes out at 350. It's not going to cook hotter than 350, which is fine for most things. The only thing I couldn't do in there would be wings. I like to do whole chickens at temperatures north of 350, but I could cook a chicken at 350 and not be unhappy with it. But we've got the other methods of getting hot. But that for me.
375 and north.
Yeah, this vertical smoker. I looked up some of the specs on the previous model, and I'm thinking they're probably the same specs. The grill grates in it are. I'm wanting to say there were 14 or 14 and a half inches deep and 21 inches wide, if I remember correctly. And the smoker comes with 4 of those, and it comes with 3 additional racks that are like jerky racks. They're not a rack you can put a brisket on. So the grill, I think, will hold 7 racks. And if you've got 7 racks in it, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot of clearance between each rack. I don't know how much space is there, but it looked like if you had just 3 racks in it, you could easily put 6 or 8 Boston butts on 3 racks inside of that grill without any trouble. So it's got plenty of capacity.
Well, you have plenty of real estate if you want to do jerky in that cold smoker.
Yeah, definitely. So,
question, John.
Mm-hmm.
Been meaning to ask you. On the rotisserie on the Classic, how many chickens can you put on that thing? Can you fit 2 on it?
You could put 2 on it, but I wouldn't do it because they're going to be pushed out far enough to the edges where you're going to have trouble getting heat underneath those outer edges of it. Your firebox, when you're running the rotisserie, you're not running a full load of charcoal. You're running a smaller amount of charcoal, and it's typically you've got it banked up to the back, and the fire is this wide, and your chickens are going to be this wide. So
okay, so when I want to do 2 chickens, I'll just go do it on a Masterbuilt.
Well, the other option you have is you could, instead of putting the spit through the cavity of the chicken, you could run the chicken. You could run it through the side of the chicken and get your chickens closer together. I wouldn't put 2. I wouldn't try to do 2 on it. I wouldn't, but
the Big Joe handled 2 fine, but I don't have the Big Joe anymore.
Probably you could get by with it on the Big Joe, but yeah, you've got better options.
No, the Big Joe handles 2 nicely, but like I said, I don't have it anymore. So
do you have the rotisserie kit for the Masterbuilt?
Oh yeah.
Well, try that.
It handles 2. The Masterbuilt will handle 3.
Yeah. So
yeah.
I never got the rotisserie kit, or did I? No, I did get it, and I never used it. I think I got it, and I think it went with that when I got rid of that grill. So, yeah. Andrew says he does 2 sideways, like I mentioned, and it works okay. So,
I might try it.
Yeah, if Andrew says it'll work, I got every bit of trust in Andrew's cooking.
Oh yeah,
that guy's a monster. You ever seen the pictures he's posting?
Oh yeah, he and I go back and forth all the time. He does some good dishes.
He's one of these people that hangs around here because he knows he's better at this than I am.
I don't think so.
He's way better at it than I am. Yep. So, yeah, this Knob Creek's hitting the spot tonight.
So is this, John. This is really. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah. I picked up a $13 bottle of liquor today, Jeff.
Yeah. Did you crack it open?
No, I haven't opened it yet.
I want to see what that tastes like.
The only reason I bought it is because it's hard to get.
I even like the name on it.
This is allocated where I live. Very old Barton, and it's really hard to come by. And it's $12.95. So I went to the liquor store today, and I bought that, and I bought barrel proof Elijah Craig.
I can't buy anything at the liquor store anymore. I'm off limits for a while.
Yeah. Did Kathy take your privileges away after buying that case of Eagle Rare?
Really, she was quite happy that I bought it. I mean, with the price that I got it for, I mean,
yeah. Take her to
I fell into a bucket and came out smelling like a rose.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to try this because I remember there's this guy I follow on TikTok that runs a liquor store. I think it's either in Tennessee or Kentucky. I can't remember exactly where he's located, but he talked about this very old Barton one time and how good it is. So I'm going to see if it's a drinker or not. I've got a couple in my wheelhouse that I like that are inexpensive. I think the least expensive stuff that I'm really a fan of is that Wild Turkey 101. So I'm not familiar with that one. JTS. Mm-mm. But yeah, one of the things, Andrew, that I'm discovering is I'm becoming a fan of the barrel proof stuff. I really love the flavor complexity of some of these barrel proof offerings, and I think that's having a negative impact on some of my other tasting experiences because I've gotten so used to some of these barrel proofs and the flavor boldness and complexity that comes along with it. When I taste something that's a really good bourbon that's 80 proof or 90 proof, it's coming up short for me sometimes. I probably need to balance my I probably need to start drinking less of the barrel proof stuff and drinking more of the 90 and 100 proof stuff because of that. I don't know. Well, I've got both of those, Brian. I've got a Go box. I've got two of the buckets. I love the buckets. If you get the buckets, go ahead and get the lids. Those lids with the honeycomb shape on them. I've got two buckets, two lids, and I use them for various things. They're good to store pellets in. I don't know. It's expensive.
I was going to say that's a mighty expensive pellet container there, John.
It's good for car wash bucket. There's nothing you can't do with it, and the bucket's all but indestructible. So, it's a bucket that I brine in it. I've got I can't show it to you from here, but on the other side of the bar against the wall over here, I've got one of these beverage coolers that they sell at Sam's Club under that Tremontina brand. And the reason I like that beverage, I don't keep it plugged in. I only keep it plugged in when I'm going to use it, but it's perfect for brining. If I want to brine in a 5-gallon bucket, I can put a 5-gallon bucket, including those Yeti buckets in there. And, if you want to brine your Thanksgiving turkey or brine a ham or something else that needs to brine and stay cold for a long time, those Yeti buckets, or any 5-gallon bucket. The Yeti buckets are a little small. They're not quite as tall as your average 5-gallon bucket because your average 5-gallon bucket will actually usually hold closer to 7 gallons, if I remember correctly, if you fill it to the top. But the Go box, I think you need to get your hands on one of those before you decide to buy it. I've got one, and I just don't particularly have a lot of use for it. That's a purpose-built device, and I tried originally using it as my barbecue toolbox, and it just doesn't work out so great for me for that. But yeah, I've got one, and I don't have the backpack. Brian and I were talking. I don't know if we talked about this, Jeff, but Yeti had a recall on some of their coolers, and one of the coolers that Tanya and I have is on that recall list. And
Is that the one that you have that's all warped from using it for hot
no.
meat?
It's one of those M30s. It's the soft-sided bag cooler, one of the large ones. It's one I bought it from Atlanta Grill Company, and I register all my Yeti stuff, and because I registered it, I got an email from Yeti a week or 10 days ago. Hey, we're having a recall. We think you might have this. So I paid $2.99 for that thing, and they're offering two options. They're offering a $325 Yeti store gift card, or they're offering a Yeti Flip 18 plus a $50 gift card. So I filled out the thing, and I told them I wanted the $325 because I want whatever they come out with to replace that M30, because I like that cooler. Tanya likes that cooler, and I want another one, but they don't have any in stock. And I got an email back from them today that says my request has been processed, and they are sending me a prepaid shipping, whatever I need to package that cooler up, drop it off at UPS, and send it back to them. And once they get it, then I guess I'll get my credit. George, that's Tramontina, Tramontina, and it's a beverage cooler. And I can't for the life of me remember what I paid for that, because I've had it for quite a while. But it's perfect for brining, and that's all it's really good for. It's not like a mini fridge, and it doesn't have a freezer in it. So the Hopper M30, is that what this is? I think he says he's not sending it. You don't have to send them back. You have the option of not taking the warranty, but I want to replace mine because I've got version 1. If I had version 2 of it, I would be less likely to want to replace it. But the version 1, you have to pry the magnets open, and you have to hold it open. It won't stay open on its own, and it's kind of hard to load and unload because of that. The version 2 of it stays open. There's a way you can pull it open, and it'll stay open. And it's easy to load and unload. And the only reason I'm sending this one back is because I want the newer version, and I'm going to be able to get it. I'm going to have to pay a little bit because I think the newer version is $50 more than the original. So, yeah. So, yeah, George, it's like a plug-in mini fridge. It's about the size of those. If you look on Sam's Club website, you'll probably find it because I've seen them in there. So I don't have a whole lot planned for this coming week. One of the things that's going to be coming up video-wise is I'm going to do a man cave smoked mac and cheese. I'm going to cook it on the Camp Chef as well. I'm going to do a brisket mac and cheese. I took some of my leftover brisket out of the refrigerator, and if things go my way, I might actually do that tomorrow and make video on that tomorrow. But I'm going to take one of my previous Man Cave Meals smoked mac and cheese projects and modify it slightly and do this brisket mac and cheese with chopped brisket in the mac and cheese. So that's going to be coming. And so what you got coming up, Jeff?
Well, next Friday I leave to go to the mixing barbecue class. That should be a hoot.
Oh yeah, that'll be fun. Hey Tanya, was the stir fry any good tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I particularly love the sauce. That was really good.
Everything was good, but that steak, that didn't work well.
Yeah, it was a little tough. I mean, now, granted, I'm used to tough meat, but it was really tough.
Well, I cooked it to Tanya's standards, and it's not that I've cooked well done sirloin before, and it's not been like that. So I'll have to work it out, and it's all going to work out if I cut it differently. If I cut different straight, yeah. Tanya's got company up there. Lily's Lily's hanging out, but uh, I'm really enjoying that Camp Chef. I'm stoked with that grill, and I don't know. I need to sit down and figure out what else I'm going to do, because with that grill, I've got a lot of things. There's a lot of things I want to do with it, and putting it through its paces and learning its personality. One thing I've discovered about that grill in the cooking I've done on it so far, which is a good bit, is that it's running a little hotter than it tells you it's running. This one, I'm not quite sure how this works in pellet grills, but the internal probes on a lot of these pellet grills, like the Camp Chef, the temperature sensors inside the grill is on the far left side, and on mine the fire pot's right in the middle, and Jeff, on the mixing, it's on the left side, but it's up high.
Top left.
This one's in the middle, down low, and the temperature on the top rack, right? If I put a probe out there or put one of my analog thermometers on there, I'm running somewhere 25 to 40 degrees hotter out there in the middle than I am over to that left side. So I'm trying to keep that in mind. And it's only doing that when I'm cooking. If I'm up above 250, if I'm cooking at 250 or so, it's okay. It's running real tight, but there's a hot spot. I'm getting a little bit of a hot spot when I run real hot. Like I cooked baked potatoes and smoked sausage on it the other day for Tanya and I for dinner, and I laid my analog thermometer up there, and I was running nearly 40 degrees hotter right over the middle. Which, when you're cooking baked potatoes and heating up smoked sausage, it doesn't matter. But and it doesn't really matter anyway. But it's just an observation. 25 to 40 degrees off when you're north of 350, it's an insignificant difference. But it's just something I noted. Janice has got an interesting question here. A reverse flow pellet grill. Janice, there's really several grills out here that have that. When you think about the design, the Bark has this.
Yep.
It's not reverse flow. Janice is looking at reverse flow from a stick burner standpoint, and in a reverse flow stick burner, you can tell a reverse flow stick burner when you look at it, because the smokestack is on the same side as the fire pit.
Yep.
Or the firebox. So the heat runs underneath a series of heat deflectors that are gapped. It comes out of the firebox, runs underneath those heat deflectors that are gapped, and then comes back around and exits the grill at the same side that it came in. A lot of your less expensive pellet grills have this cooking chamber where you've got most pellet grills' fire pot is in the center underneath, and the heat rises up and comes over and goes out the opposite side. So it's up, over, and out. These pellet grills, like the Camp Chef, the Traeger Timberline, the Bark, and several others like the Max. I don't know if the Traeger Ironwood has this or not. I think the Ironwood series does. They've got what's called a low exhaust, or I don't remember exactly what the terminology. Everybody's
That's what it's called, is low exhaust.
Yeah, the smoke and heat does not exit the grill from the top over on one side. There's a panel where the heat rises in there, and it has to come back down and leave through an exhaust port that's low in the grill rather than high in the grill. So it's achieving the same effect. It's creating a different kind of positive pressure inside the grill, and it's causing the it's causing better temperature stability from one edge of the grill to the other when they do that. I don't know how to describe it. So
Yeah, because the bark has two of them in it, one on
yeah,
each side.
right. I don't know if Janice that answers her question or not. Janice has got a stick burner, and I don't know. I don't know what kind she has, or if it's a reverse. Janice, is yours a reverse flow? Uh, the stick burner that I had was not a reverse flow, and I made some homemade baffles to go in it to help even out the temperature from left to right, where I changed the gap in it, and it did a pretty good job. So you can achieve a stable temperature, fairly stable temperatures from one end to the other if you play around with the airflow in it. So no, she says hers is not.
And Janice, do I love it? John, do I love my bark?
Oh yeah, I love mine too. There's a new kid on the block, and I'm giving that kid a fair shake. I've done the time on the bark. I know what I can and can't do with it, and I'm experimenting with this guy. And this
What
sidekick.
can't you do on the bark, John? I mean, other than the searing, you can't do the searing. I mean,
Well,
you
that
can, but it's really not. It's not good still. Even with that new heat deflector they made.
I don't really want to get into a comparison contest between the bark and the Camp Chef. The bark is huge. That the thing I love about the bark is it has capacity that is beyond my needs,
Oh,
and I've
definitely.
just got the middle size one. So
And that's to me that was the sweet spot one, the
yeah,
2400.
I could have done with the 1700. They've discontinued the 1700 though,
Yep.
so apparently they weren't selling very well. But that's the 2400 is got plenty of capacity. That grill produces what I would consider to be adequate smoke for a pellet grill when you're cooking at 250 and below. When you get up above 250, it's like most other pellet grills. I don't think it
Mm.
produces quite the level of smoke I like. It does better. It does okay, but I am uh,
To me, that smoke box that's on that Camp Chef is kind of a game changer.
it is, and that's one of the things I love about it. And I've done two cooks so far where I've ended up with more smoke than I wanted because I'm learning how that thing behaves, and uh, I'm learning how to get it to do things that I like without overdoing it because as well as most of the people that have been with me for a while here, I like less. Less is more when it comes to
Mhm.
smoke.
Particularly on poultry.
Yeah, so I over smoked the beef ribs that I cooked. And speaking of that, let me show you that. Let me show you. Pull that picture up. I went shopping. Tanya and I did a little shopping yesterday as well, and we went to this place, this 4440 Ranch and Cattle Company. This is F1 Wagyu. I got this rack of beef ribs. This is a 5-bone rack, which, first of all, let me tell you, I went up there to get a brisket. I was going to buy one of their briskets, and when I got there, I was not happy with what I saw. The briskets had places on the flat that were so thin that I didn't think I could cook it without cutting that off. There were some places on the flat that weren't at the edge that were less than an inch thick, Jeff. And
Yep. I
yes,
wouldn't have touched it.
there's a problem. I'm not going to try to cook something like that, but these beef ribs looked really good. You can kind of see the marbling there on that. But once again, this is something that this is a 5-bone rack. Let me move on down here a minute. Oops, that's not the right picture. Uh, this
Oops.
yeah, this is a 5-bone rack. It's got great marbling. This is the other piece I bought. This is a Denver steak. I've never cooked one of these before, so I'm still researching what I want to do with that. But as you can see on that Denver steak, that marbling is crazy. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to cook this because, like I said, that's one of the few pieces of a cow that I've not cooked before in that format. What I have learned something though through the Camp Chef Grill Owners Group. I actually know exactly where this comes from, and it comes from a chuck roast. So that has me curious about what I can do in terms of cooking this. But anyway, when you look at the backside of this rack of ribs, I don't like the way this rack of ribs is cut. There's actually 5 bones on this rack, and this particular rack of ribs is beef short ribs, and they're typically sold as either 3-bone or 4-bone racks. But this thing should be squared off. I would really have rather that been squared off because what I'm going to do before I cook this is I'm going to cut the last 2 bones off because I'm worried about cooking even how evenly that's going to cook the way this is. So I got there's an edge view of it here somewhere right here. So it's got a good bit of meat on it. That thing weighs a little over 6 pounds, and I'm really excited about cooking that. But yeah, I don't know. It's I'm this place touts themselves as having this great quality meat, and the stuff that I bought from them in the past is really good. But when I looked at these beef ribs and when I looked at their brisket, I am extremely disappointed with their butchering. It's just, I went up there. Now, the first time I was up there, the briskets that they had in the case did not look like the ones. They looked fine. They looked good, and I would have bought one, but I went back to get one and couldn't find one I was happy with. And they had cut a bunch of them into smaller pieces, hoping to sell smaller stuff, I guess, where people are going to take them this week and do their corned beef and their pastrami and whatnot for St. Patrick's Day. But I'm particular about brisket, and that may be F1 Wagyu beef, but I don't like the shape of that meat enough for me to go buy that instead of buying one from Sam's Club. I've been to Sam's Club twice in the last week or so trying to find a brisket that I'm happy with there, and I haven't. The first time we were down there, they only had 3 full packers in the case. They were prime grade, and their flats were a little thin. And I went back the other day, and they only had 1, and it was way bigger than I wanted. So I didn't buy it either. I'm wanting to get a brisket because I'm wanting to cook a brisket on this Camp Chef. So I've got to find a suitable one. And as soon as I get one, I'll get a brisket cook going. So, yeah, Russ says Porter Road has some notes. I'll have a look at that because there's a couple of methods I know I can do with this. The first one is I can cook it sous vide and then sear it off to finish it. I know I can go that route because I've made steaks from chuck roast before doing that method, and it works great. So I know I can pull it off. But a lot of the people that I'm looking at, I've looked at a lot of videos on YouTube. A lot of people are just searing it and finishing over indirect heat, or they're doing a reverse sear. But a lot of the commentary I read on those is it's a bit tough, and I don't know. Jeff, I'm thinking that it probably needs to be adequately salted ahead of time, and that one might need a 48-hour dry brine where the salt can get in there.
Work its magic.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out. If I waste one, I'll learn how to cook. I'll learn how to cook it. I don't really want to do it sous vide. It's not that I don't like sous vide, but I'm not a sous vide guy. That's
John. The worst that can happen to it is you turn around and cut it up and put it in the cottage pie.
Yeah. Yeah. Scott Harmon says he did a reverse sear on one and it wasn't tough. So I don't know. I mean, you saw the marbling in that guy. So I can't imagine how tough that one could be. I've got another option. I could put the jacquard to it before I cook it. That couldn't hurt. Jeff's looking at me like he's going to take my man card if I do that.
No, I was looking at,
Oh yeah.
um,
Are you getting a refill?
no, I'm savoring, John.
I'm not going to get a refill tonight either.
This case is going to last me for a year.
Well, I don't know. I haven't poured an Eagle Rare lately. Maybe I'll have Eagle Rare next week. Remind me that I said I was going to have Eagle Rare next week, and we'll do that. I'll go back to
Cool.
some
We'll have one together.
one day this week. Probably, maybe Monday. I'm gonna try this. I can't imagine myself really falling in love with a $13 bottle of bourbon, but I've heard good things about that one. Andrew, thanks for coming. We'll have you next week, hopefully. Yeah. Tanya, are there any questions we need to hit?
No, I think you've kind of hit them all. But there is something I would like for you to tell Janice.
What's that?
So Janice posted out that she could hear some crickets chirping in the background. And I was giggling and thinking about when you worked at HSM.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, this was back in the early 90s. I worked at this place. I was a computer programmer between 92 and 97, and there were 5 of us in my programming group, and we worked in cubicles. The entire floor that we were on was cubicles, and everybody in my group had this screensaver installed. And keep in mind, we were running DOS systems. This was before Windows, and we had this screensaver application that we used called After Dark. It was called After Dark.
Oh yes, After Dark.
And After
Everybody
Dark
loved After Dark.
They had this. There was this one screensaver that was like a haunted scene of some sort that you could hear. It actually ran under Windows. It was a Windows 3.11 or something. It was a Windows-based screensaver, but you would hear crickets chirping in the background, and we had 5 people running this screensaver, and when we were going to lunch, everybody's computers were up in the screensaver, and you'd hear these crickets chirping. Well, one day we came back from lunch, and the office manager said, "There's some people working down there around your desk. Just let them do what they need to do. We've called the Orkin people because there's crickets back there somewhere. We hear that there's bugs." And we looked at each other, and we didn't say a word. We just walked back to our desks, and we very promptly uninstalled the screensaver that was making the cricket sound. They had called an exterminator because of our screensaver.
That's funny.
They never asked us about it, but they didn't tell us, we've got crickets back here somewhere.
That's funny.
We didn't say anything. Yeah, we didn't say anything about it, and we just took it off. And
some things are left best unsaid, John.
the exterminator did a good job. But yeah, that was funny because when you got 5 computers within a small area and the crickets are offset, you'd hear one here, you'd hear another one over there, and one back there. You would think the place was infested with crickets if you didn't know any better. But it was just a sound that the screensaver made.
And Janice, I think what you were hearing is Lily. She was doing her purr and chirp. And so I think instead of hearing a cricket, you were hearing Lily chirp.
All right.
Oh, we're all dating ourselves here in the comments about.
Oh, I know.
Netscape,
we're talking about posters and God, Netscape.
Remember using debug and fdisk to set up your hard drive?
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny because when you try to tell kids about these things these days,
and they look at you like
oh boy.
I mean, nowadays you don't have to do anything for the hard drive.
Fdisk /MBR.
Yeah, the master boot record.
Yeah.
See, I remember, and then you did before that you did the debug and you put in all the codes to define your hard drive, and then once you got that defined, then you did fdisk, then you formatted it.
Right.
Yeah, we're all laughing. So while we're all laughing at this, I had a student. I'm teaching Windows Server this semester, and it's online. So I had a student who like failed to read the directions, and she
Yeah, Al, we're
installed
here every Thursday night.
2000. She installed the server on her laptop, overwrote everything, and didn't have a recovery partition.
We're gonna have.
And the instructions were to make a virtual machine.
Yes, there's a video walking you through how to install the freaking
Oh,
virtual machine first.
Hang on a minute, guys. Al, we are here every Thursday night, and if you'd like to come on with me one Thursday night, I'd love to have you. Think about it and hit me up. We'll have a little fun. Yeah.
John, that's some good looking beef ribs right there, buddy.
All beef ribs are good looking.
I haven't met a beef rib I haven't liked.
This very old Barton smells extremely sweet.
Did you get into it?
I just got.
Pop the cork.
Yeah, I'm gonna taste it. Oh boy. No, I don't like that at all.
Is that right, gut, John? I think your face tells the story. John, will that be suitable cooking?
Oh.
This has that same flavor that I don't like that comes from George Dickel, and I don't know what it is. I could cook with it. And Russ, talk about 1200. Russ, I'm not old enough for the 1200 ball modem. My first modem was a 2400 ball modem.
My first modem was 300 baud modem.
My first one was 12 or 24, and I had to mow a lot of grass that summer because I bought an internal 2400 baud Hayes compatible. It was not a Hayes. It was Hayes compatible.
It's because you couldn't afford to buy a Hayes.
No, I couldn't afford.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Expensive. Yeah, I can't remember the name brand of the one I had, but I do remember that I paid $225 for it.
Was it one of the U.S. Robotics?
Nope. U.S. Robotics didn't exist at that time that I'm aware of. My first U.S. Robotics modem was a 14.4. It was the Courier HST.
John
I bought a external 56.
Yeah.
And the thing was in like a suitcase.
My last modem was a 56K, and it was a USR, but it wasn't long after I got my 56K modem that I got internet service at the house through cable.
I used to run a bulletin board.
I did too.
Yeah.
The old bulletin boards those were fun.
The Apple II GS. Oh boy.
Fran, I bet you wish you still had that Apple II GS too.
Yeah.
That's worth some bucks.
It's crazy. All right, guys, we're gonna wrap things up. I appreciate you hanging out with me, but I'm tired. Tanya and we've been out shopping all day. We went to Charlotte and went to a shopping center down in Charlotte that we like. Tanya got some new Legos, and I got a rice maker.
What kind of Legos did you get, Tanya?
Oh boy.
Lord. Well, okay, so I told myself I wasn't going to do it. But the reason I went down there is I really wanted the new promo. It's got the cutest Easter bunny. And I was like, I want that for the Easter bunny build. You know, it's in a little basket. It's got some flowers. It's really cute. So I was like, go down there. It's just out in the new catalog. And I was like, I'm going to pick up what I need to pick up to get that. And it'll be okie dokie, So that being said, I went in. They had one. I came out with the Rivendell set.
We've been buying the architecture set. Not archaeology.
Oh yeah, those
architecture
are nice.
sets for for Alex. I think we only got 2 more left to get them. But he
Yeah.
put together
I
the
keep
Saturn
telling
5.
Tanya, we got to get some Legos built before we buy anymore because there's 5 or 6 kits sitting around here that haven't been built yet.
Well, maybe I should take you for a stroll through my living room. I'll bet you we have, I'm going to say probably close to 100 Legos built in there on bookshelves.
Right. I'm going
I
to.
really want the big Harry Potter castle.
Yeah. Well, I know for sure April 1st, I'm going to be getting the Up House because I loved that movie and I loved that house. And
Yeah.
so I'm going to get that.
Yeah, I like that too. I might have
This
to get
Perry
that
Old
one.
Barton tastes like it's got a higher amount of malted barley in it than a typical bourbon. I'm gonna have to see if I can find the grain bill for that.
Oh no, Janice. I've got, but John challenged me to find a place, and so I've got an idea for how I can make more room for Legos. So
We've got the Eiffel Tower that hasn't been built yet.
I know I'm really excited
I have
about that.
floor to ceiling bookcases here at the house that Dad built.
Yeah.
And I've ripped out 2 walls worth because Mom had $56,000 worth of books, and that is no exaggeration. And that's the last time she put them into the database that I built for her. So I know that there
Yeah.
was more than that. But I took 2 pickup truck loads with a topper, floor to ceiling, front to back to Goodwill.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And we've replaced those with Legos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tanya bought me one that I haven't built yet either. I've got a Ferrari that
We
I
got to
need
get
to
it
build.
done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I finally found a Ferrari I could afford. I could afford to buy for John.
Jeff, they had an SUV in this shopping mall that we went to that I'm thinking about buying. It was an Aston Martin.
Oh yeah.
And it's like a crossover, and it's all-wheel drive, and it's just shy of 700 horsepower.
Okay. And it's just shy of how many thousand?
274.
274,000.
274 was the sticker price on this thing. Yeah.
And you're going to buy it.
I'm thinking about it.
And when are you going to hit the lottery?
Hopefully soon. If I'm gonna buy
if you want to buy it,
it's gonna have to be soon.
Did you look at that video I sent you, the 2024 Crosstrek?
I have.
They did a nice job on that.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can squeeze 200,000 miles out of mine.
Well, I mean, it can be done. I mean,
yeah. Tanya put 240 or something like that on her Outback, and I'm at 137 or 138 on my Crosstrek. Night, Janice. Thanks for coming.
Janice, sometimes we're gonna have to figure out a trip to get together so we can hang out and build Legos.
Tanya, talk Janice into coming on live with us one night. We'd love to have her.
Hey, maybe we ought to have maybe we ought to do a
Lego
live
night.
podcast of Legos, Lego night.
Yeah.
I like it. And we can all show our Legos that we built.
Nah.
Why not?
If they made a Lego grill, then I'd do it.
John, you could build your own Lego grill. I mean, we got the big Lego store here, and they've got bins where you just go in and you go, okay, I need this piece, I need that piece.
That's where we went today. We went to this mall because they have a Lego store. That's the main reason we went there. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we're even VIP members.
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah.
Did you add a little
love the
goodies?
Lego. I love the Lego.
Tanya's Lego hobby is about as expensive as my grilling hobby, if not more. I'll tell you that.
I don't think so.
Now.
I don't even think it comes close, John.
Well, I'll tell you what. I know this to be a fact. The last 2 Lego kits that she bought combined are probably cost more than that last. Well, they didn't cost quite as much as that grill.
Backtrack, John. Backtrack. Be careful what you're saying here, John.
They're close.
John, listen to me. John, listen to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're here.
Yeah.
Well, see, I have this wild idea, like, and I want to get the Coliseum too before I can't get it. So that's probably going to happen sometime in the next 6 months. But what I want to do is, so we're bringing on an AI program at my school, and we have these little Amazon racers. Okay. And what I want to do, you design your track and then you teach the car to drive itself. So I'm going to up the ante for our own Amazon Cup. And we're going to have different country themes. And I'm going to put like my Eiffel Tower in the middle of the track. And the challenge is do not destroy my Eiffel Tower.
Right.
And then I'm going to do the same thing with the Coliseum, et cetera, et cetera.
And those 10-year and 12-year-old bottles of Jack Daniels are going to be unicorns. It's a limited release. Some of it will go out nationwide. You'll be lucky to stumble across any of it. They've got a limit. This will be their second batch of the 10-year-old. They did a batch in 2021. This is the first batch of the 12-year-old, and I would really love to get my hands on the 12 because the 12-year-old is 107 proof. The 10-year-old, I think, is 97 proof. Maybe it's less, but Jack Daniels they've got a couple of. It is a limited release, so yeah.
The next kit I get, I want to get that V8 motor. It's a metal V8 motor, and it actually runs. I want to build that.
When I was a kid, my dad and I built this thing called a visible V8.
Right, I built that, the plastic one.
Yeah.
With the batteries and the turns.
Yeah.
You know, they still have that. You can still buy that.
They've also got a turbo. They've got one that's a turbocharged as well.
But this one here, it's all metal and it actually runs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get the little fuel tank and.
Well, we heard today that they're coming out with the Land Rover next.
Here's what I'm interested in. Let's build a Hemi.
Yeah.
Janice is teasing me now. She knows I like that car she's driving.
Yeah. Oh, I do have a question. Do we have anybody out in San Jose?
Oh, yeah. I meant to ask that too. Do we have any followers that are in San Jose, California? If you do, hit me. If you're in San Jose or in that Bay Area, San Francisco, hit me up. Tanya's going to San Jose for a few days, and I'm trying to decide if I go with her or not. Airfare is going to cost me $650 if I want to do it. And I don't know what I'm going to do if I go to San Jose for 3 days where I'm by myself all day, short of getting a car and going up to San Francisco. It's about 50 minutes or an hour away, hour north of San Jose to go. I know what I can do up there because I've been there before, but I don't know what there is to do in San Jose. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up. I appreciate you hanging out with us. We'll be back next week. And one of the things I hopefully will have to show you next week is a new take on smoked mac and cheese from the Man Cave. So until then, y'all have a good one.
Bye, everyone.